their sporting dreams, they're living in America. These guys are the Cyclones, Australia's national gridiron team. Well, more like a battalion than a team, actually. There are 47 players, 4 captains, and 7 coaches. They come from all over Australia, from a kaleidoscope of cultural backgrounds. But they're united by one thing.
You all on the same page? Yes, sir. Let's go, guys. Put it right. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
They walk the walk and talk the talk. An abiding fascination with American football has lured each and every one of them away from the mainstream. Most began their football careers playing one of Australia's 4 more popular varieties of football: Aussie rules, soccer, league or union. But with gridiron something clicked, and in most cases it was the on button of a television.
Second goal with the 3, Elway, quarterback draw, close, touchdown.
16 years, if it's your last game, you might as well get one that way too, huh?
Why not?
Let's get Air Force on 3. 1, 2, 3. Air Force! A long time ago, I watched, I think it was the 84 Super Bowl, I think it might have been, or the 86 with the Washington Redskins and LA Raiders, and I saw Marcus Allen do a great, I think a 74-yard touchdown run. I went, gee, that's really good.
John Rowe, one of the Cyclones' coaching staff, is something of an Australian pioneer. He's put in 10 years as a gridiron player and coach. His conversion via a Super Bowl broadcast is typical, but the fascination with all things American cuts across most barriers. Rowe, an Aboriginal media producer, counts among his teammates a doctor, insurance clerks and carpenters from Samoa, the West Indies and dozens of diverse backgrounds. And in a sport with up to 50 positions to fill, there's something for everyone.
We have tennis players who have great footwork to be wide receivers, Aussie rules players who make great tight ends and wide receivers, front rowers who make, good running backs, and big second rowers from rugby who make great linemen, offensive linemen. So it's a position that caters for all sizes and shapes.
For the past 2.5 weeks, the Cyclones have come together on the Gold Coast from an idea that was literally blowing in the wind. It was only 3 years ago that the pockets of gridiron fanatics scattered around Australia were brought together under a national governing body. The dream of a national team touring overseas seemed a long way off. But at a Spartan training camp at Burleigh Heads, it's a reality rushing towards them, like an opposition running back.
Gridiron Australia, this is a major step. This is the first officially sanctioned team, if you like, that's ever represented Australia. Previously there have been private tours and teams that have come to this country and play privately raised teams. This is the first official tour, and it's the first Australian team ever selected on merit.
Gridiron Australia's Chief Commissioner, Paul Mercer, once an avid soccer fan, is another turned on to American football by TV. Bringing together the best of Australia's 3,000 registered players has been a major achievement. Best of all, Mercer's fledgling association secured a top coach, a man with 40 years NFL experience.
Eminem audible. Ready, ready, hit!
Jim Wagstaff, or head coach Wagstaff to give him his proper title, was sitting at home in Idaho when he got the most bizarre offer of his career. Jump on a plane, spend 5 weeks in the sun of the Gold Coast and then Palermo in Italy, and try and turn a bunch of rookies and well-meaning amateurs into a football team ready for the World Cup.
I choked a little bit to start with, to be honest with you, because I knew about Australian football because we had played Australian football before with the Big Down Under Bowl teams, and so I thought, boy, this would really be a challenge, and so I said, give me a little more information so I know what's going to happen.
Coach Wagstaff knew enough about gridiron down under to be wary. He figured he'd have to improvise. As he surveys his team, the former Buffalo Bills defensive back and Pro Bowl coach feels the pain of the slightest mistake. But it soon gives way to his admiration for our pioneering spirit.
I would kind of look at the program here like about back in the 1930s or 40s in the United States, and I don't know, I'm probably aging myself, but when George Halas started the NFL program, and he'd go out and pick out the guys out of the steel mills and the coal mines and stuff like that, and they would just end up on Sunday and play games, just because they love to do it. And I kind of liken that to what has happened here.
Under the perfectionist eye of head coach Wagstaff, the Cyclones are playing catch-up. First, this group, drawn from 6 states, has to get to know each other. Then they have to learn and execute the most complex moves of any football code. Gridiron is like a game of chess in body armour. And you have to learn a language loosely based on English. It's called football speak.
Over right Brown, you'll see that the backside A-back is on the line of scrimmage and he's eligible. So we want to throw to him, but we want to give him the 60 look, the 60 roll out and the 4, okay, so that we get the flow to the right-hand side of the field. So if we go over right Brown, we're going to stay short on that side and throw to the backside.
For every minute spent playing, it seems a gridiron player spends an hour preparing and another hour reviewing. This meeting of quarterbacks and their coach, Peter Toss, goes over and over the team's playbook, the Bible that dictates every move.
Mentally, the quarterback's probably got the most difficult job on the field. Physically, it's often not a very demanding job. It can be, but yeah, certainly from a mental point of view, it takes a switched-on brain usually.
Australia's gun quarterback is Dr. Mark Yeager, an Adelaide GP who grew up with the game on sandlots in his native Minnesota. Yeager's love of the game goes back to his boyhood, but he admits many of his teammates are attracted by the razzmatazz that comes with US pro sport.
I think there's, from the average Australian point of view, I think there's a real interest in most things American, and certainly things that are marketed as well as they are and are as sort of catchier, as exciting as things like gridiron.
The Cyclones assembled on the Gold Coast in search of competition. The Down Under Bowl, a tourism-driven event that this month will see 48 US high school football teams visit Surfers Paradise, was ideal preparation.
Come on! Let him use it now! Let's go, Line! Stay low! Go, Line! Use what we gave you! Go!
Among these American teenagers, most under 18 years of age, are talented footballers chasing college scholarships. Most are barking mad about their sport.
Come on! Come on, Bo!
In their second and final warm-up game before the World Cup, the Cyclones are playing a high school selection from Nebraska. While the Australians have bulk on their side, the US teenagers have had years to understand the complexities of the game. And Coach Wagstaff knows upstairs is where his team struggles.
Let's do this tonight. Let's do this. Let's don't make any mistakes. We don't make any mistakes, we don't get beat. Everybody pay attention. Special teams, your individual assignments, all those things. And let's have one heck of a ball game, and we'll win this thing and go to Italy in a right, proper manner. You all on the same page?
Yes,
Let's go, guys. Put it
go!
right.
Come on, boys!
There we go.
1, 2, 3, go!
Things are looking good for the Cyclones. Even better when quarterback Mark Yeager tosses away the playbook and improvises. The touchdown run of 45 yards is the play of the night, and the Cyclones are pumped.
Come on!
The great American football dream comes at a cost. Each one of these players has paid $3,000 up front to be a part of this training camp on the Gold Coast and to go to the World Cup in Palermo. On top of that, up to 5 weeks away from jobs and families and their businesses. Dreamers they may be, but they're also very dedicated footballers. But soon there's a sharp reminder of how far they still have to go.
Jesus Christ! Come on, guys! Watch the ball! Let it go! An arm out there! Hey, go on!
In gridiron, unforced errors cause a collective depression and even more frenzied analysis from the coaching staff.
This is such a small hole that he fits here, and because we're triple option, the backside linebacker is making a play.
Hit him!
Center, get your ass out of it. Get your head out of your ass and get the backside linebacker. This is the guy that's hurting us right now in option.
It's no wonder some of them look confused. The Cyclones have plenty of first-year players, among them punter Paul Del Borello. A year ago, he entered a super punt competition, intrigued by the success of another Perth Aussie rules player, Darren Bennett. Bennett now pulls $1 million plus salary in the NFL as the punter of the San Diego Chargers.
Darren's been an icon. He's the first Australian to make the Pro Bowl, only the third Australian to ever make it into the NFL, and yeah, he's certainly got a bit of a profile back here in Australia. He took his Aussie rules career, you know, another step by going overseas and playing in the World League in Europe, and then being picked up by the Chargers, where he's done absolutely sensational.
And pulling a fair salary.
Yeah, he's on a few dollars. He was a little bit cagey when we met him earlier in January as to how many dollars he is making, but fair to say he's on a pretty fair wicket, I think.
Then again, earning money from this pursuit isn't so far-fetched. The Cyclones' offensive line coach, Paul Manera, has shown the way. Manera gave up a promising rugby union career to chase a US college football scholarship and ended up at the University of Hawaii. He graduated with a business and finance degree and impeccable American football credentials after 3 years with an NCAA Division I program. Life was returning to normal in Sydney until...
This year in March, I got a phone call, but it's kind of changed my life a little bit. And it was a job offer to go to Japan and coach with a team called the Recruit Seagulls. So I've accepted the position as offensive line coach and be there for 2 years and hopefully a lot longer.
Indeed, Japan, with an American football culture implanted by the occupation forces after World War II, are the favourites for the forthcoming World Cup. But back to the ball game, and the Cyclones have cut their error rate and have pounded their smaller opponents. The final score, Cyclones 26, Nebraska High Schools 0.
Well, this is really good because we saw such an improvement from the first game to this ball game. We came out right the first half. The first game we played, we didn't do anything hardly, except the defense played well both games. Anytime you shut teams out, you got to be real happy about the defense.
Let's put it in here.
Oh, man, we're ecstatic. That was a damn hard game, but we done real well to come out of the way we did.
And it was a tough game too.
Damn, they hit hard and they were quick on their feet, so can't ask for a better result than that. We won.
And
we held them out.
The coach is saying you've improved over the first game to this point?
First game in the first half, we made some bad mistakes. This game, we done well. We can kick some more ass when we get over to Italy.
The Cyclones have some silverware and a growing self-belief. When it's all said and done, this uniquely American pursuit allows these players to wear the green and gold and carry the Australian flag, the ultimate honour for any footballer in this country.
We've got guys from all over Australia, all nationalities, bonding as one great team. We're going to kick some ass in Italy.
And that's where the great American-Australian football dream continues later this week.